Hi, and welcome to the 30-Day Digital Challenge. Now, today we're going to be looking at GDPR. Now, I think one of the things to address first off is that with GDPR, I think it's been overcomplicated. We see so much in the press that, at the end of the day, they want a story, they want intrigue, they want something to write about. So what happens is it becomes a little bit more complex, and businesses start to get a little bit daunted as to, what does GDPR mean? Are they going to be facing huge fines? Is it going to be a huge investment to actually become compliant? So the first thing I'm going to look at today is, what is GDPR? Well, it's the General Data Protection Regulation. Sounds exciting, but actually it's so crucial because GDPR has been kind of sold as this, compliance regulation, and it means that obviously people are going to have to go through all these processes and procedures to become compliant. Now, it's a really positive thing because what's actually happened is it's a regulation by which the European Parliament, the Council of the European Union, and the European Commission intend to strengthen and unified data protection for all individuals within the European Union. So this is actually a massive benefit for both businesses who are using data and also for consumers. So think about things like email marketing. This is only going to improve our email marketing efforts for businesses because it means that we have to opt in. We've always had to opt in to actually receive marketing communications, but it means that people are obviously going to be cleansing data. The email campaigns that go out are going to be more efficient because the data is going to be better. So what is GDPR and what does it mean? Now, the crux of the matter is, for you to be able as a business to send a marketing communication, the end user who receives it must at some point have opted in. Now, what does that mean? It quite simply means they have to have checked a box or clicked a link at some point in their life to subscribe and say, I would love to receive a marketing communication from that particular business. So think about it. If somebody goes onto your website and signs up for a fabulous download or a free guide with lots of tips in, it's a case of putting a little checkbox, so somebody can put a little tick in it to say, yes, I am signing up to receive this lovely free guide that you've created for me, and I would also like to receive further marketing communications. Now, marketing communication is a mass broadcast, but someone must enter into it, and the process of opting in is not just somebody being a customer, but they have to have either checked a box, or the other option is, if they sign up for this lovely free guide that you've produced, you would need to send them an email for them to click a link to verify that, yes, they would like to receive marketing communications. Now, it doesn't sound that bad. It's something that's best practice because you don't want to be marketing to people who don't want to receive your marketing communications because they're not your prime prospect. And again, a customer, if they want to receive communications, then great, they're more likely to buy. But we can't obviously send emails to people who haven't opted in. So, where did GDPR come from? Well, it was formed in 27th of April 2016. The implementation date is the 25th of May this year, 2018. Now, incidentally, the ICO, who are the Information Commissioner Office, were on one of our courses this week. One of the things we were discussing is this sort of huge news hype and the fact that there's been quite a bit of scaremongering for businesses around GDPR. Now, what it means is that if you are not compliant, and for instance, you keep sending persistent emails to people who haven't opted in, then yes, you'll get a fine. But they're not out to fine businesses who are doing everything they can to be compliant. They're only going to address this with people who are consistently flouncing the law and not adhering to regulation. So you need to register with the ICO if you handle any form of personal data. So as a data controller with the Information Commissioner, you basically register to say that you're handling personal information. So it is statutory requirement for every organization that processes personal information. So personal information could be like health or anything that involves data, things like date of birth is even personal. So how do you go about ensuring your data compliant? Well, again, one of the things you're going to have to do is going forward, all new data is going to have opt-in. So what happens is someone signs up, checks a box or clicks a link. And if you're using email marketing tools or CRMs, customer relationship management databases, what happens is every time somebody does that process, it digitally stamps it. So it means that it records the source, the date, and the process that they opted in. So if somebody complained or something came up and the data protection said, right, actually, you know, we need to see if this person's opted in, you've got this lovely digital proof. So the thing is with GDPR is all it means that we are asking people to handle personal data as businesses in the best format they can. So for instance, as a business, because we are e-commerce and we process credit card details and debit card details on our site, we had to go through a whole compliance process. And we used a tool called TrustWave. And what it did is it scanned our website to make sure that there was absolutely no way that that data that people are giving us in confidence could be breached. So all it means is that we're handling personal data. We're trying to make sure that best practice, that nobody can misuse or take that data outside the purposes that we're using it for. Now, make sure that obviously you update your privacy policy on your website to say how you handle data and how you store and record it. But if you are doing any form of payments whereby you take the payment on the site, not bypassing it to someone like PayPal or Stripe outside it, but if someone's entering the details on your site, go to TrustWave, do a free scan and make sure that you are obviously compliant. Make sure that obviously all the data going forward, you've got a checkbox or a click the link to verify that they would love to receive marketing communications. Now, what about the existing data? It's a bit of the elephant in the room, really. What do we do with data that we've had from maybe exhibitions or offline? We don't have this digital source. Well, we're going through this process with loads of our clients at the moment. And all we're doing is quite simply encouraging them to re-engage that list through things like competitions and fun things, added value items, giveaways, anything, promotions. It's far better to do it that way to get someone to check a box and click a link than sending them an email saying, we're just doing our GDPR compliance. Would you like to verify? Because to be honest, the end user's not that bothered. It's your responsibility. So add value if you want somebody to do something. Don't expect them to do it just because you have to. So hopefully that has demystified a little bit about GDPR, but it is that simple. The ICO said this week that the way that obviously we're describing it is exactly how the news should portray it. But obviously, as the stories come out, you know, there's more and more sort of embroilment that goes on. So any questions about GDPR, feel free to comment in the box. There's loads of information that we can provide for you. So any questions, pop a little comment in. And if you would like to share this video, then just press share, and it's going to be available on obviously Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and so on. Join a 30-day challenge if you haven't already, like our Facebook page, Business Consort, and join the group because that means you get a copy of all the recordings. So we will see you tomorrow, day 11 of the digital challenge. And we've obviously got 30 days to go. And we'll be covering email marketing and in particular the automation around it. So whereas we've talked about campaigns already, we're going to look at automating campaigns and also automating the sales process. So hopefully see you all tomorrow. Thanks so much for tuning in. Take care. Bye now.